are back again at CoBo Challenge 2017. And we have two collectors standing with us today as our guest of honor again, Kim and Lito. You're a sweet couple from the Philippines.
Thank you.
Well.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say so.
So you have been collecting together for
quite a long time.
Quite a long
We
time.
got married almost 37 years ago, and we started collecting probably soon after that, especially when we moved to New York as a young couple back in 1980.
from New York to
No, from Boston to New
from
York.
Boston
We were
to
both
Man-
at Harvard Business School. We were schoolmates, not classmates, because I was a year ahead of her.
So you met at school.
Yes.
Love story.
Love story, and get married.
No, we got married about 2 years after we met. It took me a year to convince her. 3 times. I had to propose 3 times before she finally said yes.
What are the
It took a year.
criteria?
Well, I told him I will only say yes when I think I can no longer live without you.
I guess I convinced her
That day
eventually.
came 1 year later.
So you were convinced finally.
No, but anyway, so we moved to New York back in 1980. We moved to our apartment, and it's a blank wall. So we had to decorate the apartment. I guess that started us off, just buying, inexpensive prints and stuff like that. It was really in 1981 when we moved back to the Philippines towards the end of 1981 when I think we really got into what you could call serious collecting, because we were spending a lot of our weekends visiting galleries as well as homes of many of our young contemporary artists at the time during the early 80s.
But you were already interested in arts before, or it was kind of
I was. He was too.
He
His
was.
mother was very, very active in the art circle in the Philippines. And my mother has always been an art lover. I had uncles who were painting. So
You grew
I
up
used
in
to
that
pore over the
environment,
art books when I was even a little girl. And when I went to Harvard for undergrad, one of the courses I took was History of Western Art. And I thought that was the best course I took at Harvard.
For me, it was more dabbling in art because I used to draw. I used to be able to draw, do portraits.
So tell them
So
about
you-
the
you-
HBS
Yes.
class.
You
Oh.
both have the artistic gene in you, right?
I think so. Well, in my case, I do enjoy drawing. As Kim was saying, when I was at Harvard Business School, I actually spent several weekends drawing the faces of all my classmates from my class, about 86 faces. And the professor was so, was so excited and interested about the artwork that I did that he had it reprinted and gave a copy to each of my classmates.
Wow.
That's how smart he was. He was the only one in the business school who had time to draw.
And he's smart to go to the business and instead of the arts.
Yeah.
And then it was after coming back to the
To
Philippines
Asia, right.
that you start collecting
Collecting.
intensively,
Yes, I would say so.
extensively as well.
Well, I guess at that time, again, we were a very young couple. We were just financially getting started with our careers. So we were just buying, things that we could afford at that time. But even then, I think we were already looking at particular artists and trying to go deep into those artists, trying to understand them, doing research, and so on. So one of the first artists that we actually collected is one who's considered the father of printmaking in the Philippines. His name is
Printmaking.
Manuel Rodriguez Sr. He's over 100 years old now. He's still alive. He lives in the U.S. I think it really, it illustrates the kind of collecting that we've been doing throughout the 37 years that we've been doing.
And you're also very well known for your collection of Kusama. I was lucky to have visited your house, really amazing. And
Thank
I have seen Kim
you.
personally on the internet as well, always dressed with
Kusama dresses.
Why so? Why are you so into her, and how did you first collect her,
Encounter.
her work?
Well,
Your first encounter.
I first saw Kusama at the Tokyo Museum of Modern Art in 2004.
2004.
We were there as guests of the Japanese government, and they actually asked us to write our itinerary And then they provided translators and escorts for us and transportation, everything. And so Lito chose to go to visit, like, the chairman of Mitsui and Marubeni and all of those, and the parliamentarians. And I chose to do the art tour. So I said, I just want to visit museums. So we went to about maybe 11 museum shows. And I called him up and I said, if there's just one show that you can include in your schedule, go to this one, the one of Kusama at the Tokyo Museum of Modern Art. And he went, he had an hour's...
The 1 hour free time.
Yeah, and he called me and he said, you're right, she's fabulous, So from then on, we actually tried to find her artworks, but no success. Until one day, it's very funny, it's serendipity, I think Kusama chose us, not that we chose her. There was a postcard that came in our mail. We were in a house in Singapore.
We had just moved to Singapore at that time. This is 2005, early 2005.
So 1 year after the show. Because after the show, I asked my Japanese tour guide, I said, is there any way we can find artworks of this artist? She said, oh, very difficult. She said, I was the translator for the Serpentine galleries when they went to visit her, and it's impossible to get her works. So we just left it at that, okay, impossible. And then we got this postcard in the mail addressed to the previous tenant of our house,
in Singapore,
inviting her to an exhibit
a Kusama
of
show
Kusama.
in one of the galleries in Singapore.
Amazing.
And so he called me at that time. I hadn't moved to Singapore yet with him because I was waiting for the children to finish classes in the Philippines. And so I said, look, when does the show end? He said, on Friday, this day. And I said, I'm going to Singapore that day. I'll go straight from the airport. Please tell them to keep the gallery open for me. So I went straight from the airport to the gallery, and that's when we first bought our
First purchase.
Kusama works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. What is in her work that hit you so deep in your heart?
I
What
love
is
her
it?
spirit of fun, her originality, her just complete mastery of so many kinds of media, from sculpture to her mirror rooms to her paintings, her drawings. Just incredible, her vision of space and how she deals with it. It's just very powerful.
What about you?
Well, I think to me, it's her boldness, right? It shows in the colors that she chooses, shows in the images. I also think that Kusama, even back in the 50s and the 60s, was very visionary because she would be as contemporary today as she was in the 60s. And I think that really represents, a real talent, a talent that comes once every 100 years or so. So it's very difficult not to be attracted to the works of Kusama, which is quite ironic given the personal life that she's had. I mean, if you read the books on Kusama, it's not necessarily a very happy life story. She had a difficult childhood. She went to New York. She was not, easily accepted by the community and so on and so forth. She moved back to Tokyo, confined herself to a hospital, and so on. So she's not lived the happiest life. And yet, when you look at her works, it's almost the opposite, right? Because the works are very happy.
No, but it's amazing because after we fell in love with the works that we saw, then we found out that she was more than just a visual artist. She wrote poems and novels and directed films. So she's an incredibly talented artist.
Very special
Incredibly.
person. Very special
You met
person.
her in person.
We have met her in her
several
studio,
times.
yes. We spent a couple of hours with her. She
Over
toured us.
2 hours with her.
So she toured us. She showed us her works. We caught her working actually when we arrived at her studio. and she was already 84 at that time. And then we went to her office, we had cake, we had tea. It's very, very, quite an experience. She's almost childlike. I mean, you can tell she's a very special, there's something very special about her.
But I was so delighted with how warm she was to us. You know, I thought like she would be forbidding and like standoffish and impossible to touch. No, she was so warm. Allowed me to touch her hand and everything. Very, very sweet.
Well,
Very
we were
sweet.
warned before this visit that if we were able to get 10 or 15 minutes of her time, we're doing very, very well.
Wow, then you have
So
2
we had
hours.
expected to be
2
introduced,
hours,
have a
15
couple of
minutes.
photos, shake her hands, you know,
Yeah.
maybe have something signed, and that's it. And then we
For
have to go.
exceeding everyone's expectations.
Yes, she even kept asking
Amazing.
Ota-san, what else can I show them? What else can I show them? She was very excited
Amazing.
to be with
It's-
us. It was so nice.
It's a connection, right?
I
Yes.
think there was. I mean, I was surprised because when we went to her office, I remember we had been featured in a magazine in Japan with
Pen.
our photos
Pen
and one of
magazine.
our children with our it's a little bit of our collection, which at that time was still in Singapore. And she had it ready. So when we arrived at her office, she immediately showed it to us and pointed at our photos. And she was very delighted.
Excellent.
And she was so happy to see me dressed in the complete outfit of Louis Vuitton, you know, of the
Very
line that she had
design.
designed. Yeah.
From sunglasses.
shoes to sunglasses to
It's
the
pale homemade,
Macintosh
right?
coat and the handbag and everything. She was so happy.
Excellent. I know your house is full of works from Kusama. And imagine if someone walking tumbled into one of the sculptures or, you know, touched the paintings or even the
Oh,
print.
no.
What if it happened, you know, 2 weeks ago, I think, in the museum. What if someone breaks any piece of Kusama's
heaven
piece at your
forbid, but
house?
that would be a real disaster. But, you know, but it's... to
I'd
be-
go to my bedroom and cry.
But you know, Selena, we've, you know, as we said, we've been collecting for some 30 plus years. And we have 6 children.
Six
And when they
children.
were younger, they were running around the house with art around the house, some breakable things and so on. And I think I've always taken the attitude that, you know, they're there to be experienced and to be engaged with. And if for some reason you have an accident, it happens, right? And you have to accept that. I mean, it's, you know, our art collection lives with us. You know, it's not in some storage or in some museum. It's in our living room, in our bedroom, in our bathroom, in our powder room, etc. So we live with the art, and I think that it becomes part of your family, right? So it's like having somebody getting sick. Yeah, so you feel bad. You try to do what you can. I mean, we've had things that have been broken. You bring them to a restorer, you get it done, and that's it. Right? You move on.
Would you kind of, because of this artwork, super fragile pumpkins in there, that you kind of reconsider inviting a certain guest?
No, we can't.
Considered disinviting or
Yeah,
not
Not
inviting.
to invite a
certain guests.
certain guest.
I guess our home maybe isn't that child friendly in terms of like maybe 6 years old and below, because they well, there's just a little more danger about having very tiny kids there. But we have a space for them. In our foyer, we have like monster fish, etc., that they can look at. We have a fish spa where the little kids can go.
So it has not stopped us from inviting whoever, including children. But you try to take precautions as much as you can. For example, we have a large Kusama sculpture as you enter the house. You may remember the Venus
huge pumpkin.
obliterated. No, the Venus.
The Venus,
The Venus.
Yes.
obliterated.
And in the past, it's very tempting because as people enter the house, they would touch it because they're trying to figure out what is it made of? Is it metal? Is it glass? Is it fiberglass? Right? And so some time ago, I had at Kim's suggestion, had the fabrication of a acrylic plate that it now stands on. And because it's shiny, people are now reluctant to come close because they think might break the floor.
All right.
So it,
The
you know,
base.
so you do things like that.
Oh, and tell them
Subtly.
about the
Subtly.
Oh,
Please do not.
you may not have noticed it when you enter the house, but you know we have those glass doors before
Yes.
entering the living
Yes.
room. may not have been obvious to you, but there is a sign there that says, "Please do not touch my artworks," and it's signed
My
by Yoyoy
artwork.
Kusama. And she may be upset if she finds out because I think I expropriated her signature.
Oh, so it's kind of to pre-announce that you're going to see a lot of Kusama's pieces inside. Once you step in, be careful.
Yes, so you take those precautions, but otherwise, as I said, it has not prevented us from inviting people. People who are very close to us, families, friends, etc., including children.
If you have to invite a guest to your house, not Kusama,
Not Kusama.
not Kusama, but someone who would get along so well with her work, either putting works, like adding extra work there, or just be present. Who would be the artist that you want to invite?
Oh, who would be the artist?
Alive, still alive. Because if it had been maybe an artist who is now dead, I would have wanted to invite Alfonso Osorio to come to the house. He's an American abstractionist, half Filipino, patron of Jackson Pollock. I would have wanted him to come in the house and look at the Kusama
Look
works.
at the Kusama.
I would have enjoyed the interaction,
What would be your choice?
Not sure about painters or artists because there are so many. I think what I do enjoy, which we do very often, is to host dinner parties for art friends. When you came, we had art friends visiting the Philippines from Hong Kong, from Singapore, and elsewhere because of Art Fair Manila. And it's always fun to have people who are really active in the arts, whether they're collectors, gallerists, publicists, art critics, art professors, or artists. Because you can, there's a lot more appreciation for what Kim and I have done over the last 30 years. And it gives you a lot of satisfaction.
So you will be inviting the whole community.
Well, we do host a lot of parties. We live in Singapore, but when we do come home to our home in Manila, and when there is an occasion, or even then there's no occasion, we try to invite friends over for dinners. And we have large dinners.
And also whenever we have a major new artwork, we try to celebrate it by having friends in the art circle come over
Excellent.
to see it. It's like welcoming a new baby in the house, right?
To shower the baby.
When you came to dinner at
Yeah.
home, we had just had the giant pumpkin sculpture arrived the day before the dinner party
I thought
from
it was
Japan.
It was so well made, like the space it just put.
Yes,
Excellent.
just
Well,
arrived.
You cannot imagine
Excellent.
what the logistics that it took to get it to where it is now
in
in our
order
home.
not to break it.
There were 10 men who had to carry
No, it could not
the
fit
artwork.
into our front door.
Oh,
So
They
it
had to fabricate ways of getting into the house. They had to cover the swimming pool with wooden planks so they could walk over the pool.
right.
From
They
the
had to go to
side.
the back, yeah. Very complicated.
You manage it.
Well, as Kim was saying, it's like delivering a baby. It comes with labor, but with labor, and a beautiful delivery, you've got a beautiful baby, right? And I think it's the same with art.
Excellent. You need a whole team.
Well, we're sure that pumpkin will never get stolen from our house. There's no way they can
No way
bring
to
it
get
out.
out.
It will require 10 men.
No way
First
to
of all,
get
it
it out.
weighs 300 kilos.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to the next party.
Oh, we'll
Thank
have
you
you
so
for sure.
Thank you.
Thank
you so
Selena.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Selena.
very much.